spirited dialogue is important. If we're all just agreeing with each other, then we're not necessarily going to get to the best outcome, right? We need to be able to defend and have these conversations. There's going to be conflict. There's going to be tension. And she was very realistic. That's going to happen. And how we show up during those moments and how we support each other is also really important.
Yeah.
And really kind of going back to that commitment of saying, I want to make sure that in those moments I'm showing up in this way. There's nothing out there that we ask our clients to do that we are not doing ourselves or practicing ourselves. One, because we know this stuff works. Hey.
Yeah.
But also it's just because it is part of like every fiber of our being and what we do. This is not just something like we're doing this because it's trendy and we want to share it with other people. Like we're doing it because it works and because we live and believe it. And I guess that's our purpose, right?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the breakdown of a favorite inner work episode here. And Karen and I, hey Karen, how are you?
Hey.
Karen and I are going to be breaking down the episode that we had with Kellie Richter, the amazing CMO at Fort Worth's own First Command, and had a great conversation with her a bit ago. And so, Karen, you reflected on this episode. What stood out to you? What was the first thing that came up?
If I look at kind of the overarching theme, and is she CMO or COO now? COO?
Oh, she has become COO. You're right. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Just making sure.
Let's not put her in a box. Let's not make her smaller than she is.
I'm applying this correctly as we talk. But her background and that marketing background, applying that lens and this idea of the authentic brand experience to that COO role. Yeah. So just this idea of thinking about this reputation and experience lens and how everybody, regardless of what they do within the firm, is connected to that. Yeah. And even zooming that out and saying and taking it really to the individual level and thinking through that lens of brand experience, how we as leaders are doing that individually, right? Making sure that we're walking the talk, that we are who we say we are. That was the big kind of thematic thing that jumped out to me from Kellie's conversation.
Yeah. And as you mentioned that, I'm thinking about, we meet a lot of leaders. We work with a lot of tremendous, extraordinary, high-performing organizations. And what I was experiencing, because I know Kellie a little bit through the United Way Women United group and wanted to learn more about her, and why not interview someone, to get to know more about them.
Great way to get to know them.
Exactly. And I was just really impressed with, we use the term buttoned up to mean got it together, got the stuff together. And it sounds to me from a technical perspective or on how she approaches the work holistically, how she structures things for her team. And then based on, self-report, if we take her at her word, that she learns from the experiences that she has. And she mentioned in particular getting a little bit crossways with a colleague and then going back on, what she learned from that. And
yes.
I overall, I'm impressed with her approach, her professionalism, and there's a sense of discipline about her.
Yeah. Say yes. I would say yes. Yes to all. As usual, I'm agreeing with you. Shocker. But yeah, can we dig into that moment a little bit, that interaction with a colleague? I just really appreciate the other word coming to mind, just confidence.
Yeah.
I think because being a confident leader, right? One of that ways that shows up is this ability to take ownership, right? So she talked a lot about taking ownership when things do go sideways, and you have to have confidence to be able to take ownership, to say, I didn't show up the way that I wanted to. And I loved her confidence and vulnerability in sharing that and understanding that was an important lesson, not only for her, but for the team, because she talked about publicly modeling how she approached it with this colleague and saying like, hey, I wasn't living our agreement, and I'm trying to remember, was it team first? It was something along those lines, but it was one of their team norms. And the way that she described it, as far as it's not like we're not going to have conflict or as I like to say, spirited dialogue, right? Like spirited dialogue is important. If we're all just agreeing with each other, then we're not necessarily going to get to the best outcome, right? We need to be able to defend and have these conversations. There's going to be conflict. There's going to be tension. And she was very realistic. That's going to happen. Right. And how we show up during those moments and how we support each other is also really important.
Yeah.
And really kind of going back to that commitment of saying, I want to make sure that in those moments I'm showing up in this way. And that everybody in the team gets to see that just because you reach a certain level doesn't mean that you're exempt from these things, or that you don't hold yourself accountable, apologize in the moments where you need to apologize, right? That is so important. And I think her ability to do that, I think, speaks a lot to her leadership, and also how that must manifest within the organization, you know, beyond that leadership team, when that's what is set as the expectation for the behavior.
Right.
So just, woo.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Love that. And you mentioned conflict is going to happen. And I would even move beyond that to conflict should happen.
Yes.
But
that's where I was trying to go.
But most people don't think of it that way. They think, and when we start working with them, we've got too much conflict, or we're always in conflict, and we need to solve that. We need to fix that. And in people's brains, it often means we're not going to have conflict, but really it's the nature of the conflict. Are you pointed towards solving? Are you disagreeing respectfully? Because if we are, fundamentally, we want people to be their authentic selves, bringing their full personhood and all of their talents, nothing shut down, all of their talents to this conversation. And then if we link that with growth mindset, where we're continually failing because the stuff that we're trying to do is so big, we're really going for it, that we're stretching our capacity, is the same thing that we should be bringing our own perspectives, or we can be bringing our own perspectives that should, not just can, but should conflict with somebody else's perspective. And out of that debate that can be done with respect, we get the best result.
Yes. Oh, 100%. And that's why I jokingly sometimes call it spirited dialogue, because people hear conflict and sometimes it has this negative connotation. And I'm like, spirited dialogue, passionate dialogue, the ability to share a point and to, as you said, in a respectful way.
Yeah.
But the ability to advocate, all of these things are the things that help us arrive at usually our best outcomes, because we're doing that back and forth. Hopefully we're doing it in a way where we're listening as well as talking. And then, you know, depending whether it's two individuals or a group, a team, we're arriving at where we need to arrive to. And if we're not comfortable doing that, those are missed opportunities, right? And so I'm sure you've had this experience as well, where you're talking to a leader, not about the fact that there's too much conflict or how to have conflict, but pointing out to them that the fact that there is no conflict or discussion might be one of their challenges. Hey, leader, you are surrounded by people who are just agreeing with you. Verbally anyway. But probably not in spirit. You don't have anybody. People are afraid to tell you how they really feel about something, because they feel like you value conformity, loyalty, whatever it looks like.
Yeah.
And this is what that's costing you. And those can be really interesting conversations.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And often, because you made me think about building teams of yes people. We want who are driven. We want people who are motivated and who have a yes mentality, of let's make it happen mentality. But then it's not actual harmony that you have. It's false harmony.
Yes.
It's people saying yes and then rolling their eyes behind your back. And I was listening to one of our other versions, you know, as we were putting our packet together for consultants coming on board. And we were saying, whoever's listening, if you're having Saturday and Sunday all hands, you are not well liked. You may think you're totally
listening to that too. It was like, just came on in the background, and I'm like, oh, it's been a minute since we recorded this. Let me listen to it. And I love that I can crack up again when I'm hearing us talk. We were so hilarious and enjoyable to listen to. But I was laughing because you were like, yeah, no, spoiler alert. They don't like you. They don't agree with this. They're just doing it because they have to. And I think, to your point, like, you do want people, you don't want to be surrounded by Dr. No, right? Nobody wants to hear this is impossible. We can't do it, right? As an entrepreneur, that's like, stick me in quicksand. Why don't you? Like, it feels the same way. But it's the difference between like, yes, I'm just going to agree with you and I'm not going to poke holes in anything and everything is great. And that kind of facade. And maybe it's the yes and mentality. Like, let's go improv, right? Yeah. Yes and is like, yes, absolutely, we should look at doing this. And here are some things maybe we need to consider, right? So we're having that the positivity, but the true positivity and the true, like, we can do this together mindset, which is also talking through things that might be concerns or differences or whatever that may look like.
Yeah, absolutely. There is a little child coming through. So
I would love to hear her thoughts on this.
Yeah, Margot, what do you think about saying yes to everything or really being compliant? What do you think? Are you afraid from the Wicked Witch? Yeah, Margot's what are you watching, baby?
The Wicked of Witch.
The Wicked of Witch. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Wizard of Oz. Yeah. She's a little bit scary, huh?
She has some moments. Yeah.
What does she represent, Karen? What does the Wicked Witch of the West represent in life?
What does she represent? I wasn't prepared for this question. I think it's a really good one. What is she in this? Authority, power, control. You know what I like, though? I liked your approach, which is, let's tell that witch what we think of her. Let's banish that, you know. Is the witch our inner critic?
Ooh.
Yeah.
And yeah, you think Margot says yes. So when we're telling her, like, listen, Wicked Witch, which in this one, she doesn't even have a name, which is just like, that's how you know. We're not even giving her a name. We should name her. That will take away her power. But I think she's our inner critic, and we're just like, we're not here for it. We're not here for it. I like the shoes. I'm going to keep the shoes. I was given the shoes. The shoes were a gift.
The rest you can have back.
You have no power over me.
Yeah, I like that. What do you think?
I'm going to walk this road.
Of the witch.
Still a little scared of the witch. Okay, well, you can sit with me for a minute, okay?
And Mama, I want you to sit by me when you're done having a call.
When I'm done having a call, I will sit with you and we'll make some lunch, okay?
And watch with me and watch the movie with me.
Okay, we can
And
do
Bunny, is that Bunny?
Mm-hmm.
Can you show Miss Karen Bunny?
Is that Bunny? Bunny's watching the movie.
Yeah.
Bun.
Yeah.
Oh, Bun's so cute.
Yes.
I like Bun.
Yeah. Well, we could go down that whole trail of Wicked Witch of the West versus Elphaba, because the meaning translated to wicked is completely different, of course.
Well, sure. Yeah. I mean, that's a whole, you're getting into.
I also love Wicked.
You also love Wicked.
You like Wicked. You're like, I like that green lady better than this green lady.
After this one, I want to watch Wicked. After this movie, I want to watch Wicked.
Okay. Since our school decided that we don't need school today or Monday, you can watch as many movies as you want, honey.
All the movies.
We'll let your headmaster know.
There you go. It's where was I going? Oh, propaganda. The power of propaganda.
That is the truth. Yep.
Mindset.
That's right.
We could go. There's so many places we could take.
There's so many places we could go. One of the things that Kelly brought up was the difference between telling and coaching. And that's something you and I have talked about this. I tend to be, because we both coach and advise, I find myself, especially under pressure for results, becoming more advisory in my coaching.
What am I wearing?
Yeah, exactly. And from your perspective as a certified coach yourself, how have you reflected on telling versus coaching, and where does that fit? And, in a strict coaching relationship, it might be from one perspective, but as a manager, is it different? Kind of, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think, what comes up for me when you're saying this is coaching as a verb versus coaching as a practice. And coaching as a verb, and how we coach as a manager or as a leader is probably more, maybe more of that mix of advising and coaching. You're not necessarily sitting in that true coaching role. Coaching is a practice, right? As a certified coach, we're approaching this going, okay, what do you want to work on? What's going on with you? Yeah. And asking questions to help people uncover the answers, right? Like, that's what we're doing when we talk about coaching. But the way coaching is used just in the vernacular isn't meaning that practice of coaching. It might just mean people, are using that as a synonym for other things. Like, as a manager, it's giving feedback or sharing or whatever, right? So I would say, if we're talking about coaching as a leader, her piece around telling versus coaching, she was kind of speaking to the relationship itself, right? And this idea of when people know that you care about them and you care about what matters to them, they are more receptive to any idea that you're going to put in front of them. And I'm thinking of, I'm going to totally get it wrong right now because we're in the moment and we're recording, but like, what is it? People don't care about how much you know until they know about how much you care.
Yes.
That was only somewhat clunky, but it's the same kind of idea. And it ties to, radical candor, which we've talked about many times as well. Kim Scott's work, right? Just this idea of when you care about somebody personally, it puts you in a better feedback to give them feedback or better feedback. It puts you in a better position to give them feedback or coaching about what they're doing professionally because of the intent, right?
Yeah.
Right. So there's that intentionality there of when I know that you care about what's best for me, that you know what my goals are, that you're communicating to me through that lens. And it's not just about, this is the message that I want to give to you.
Yeah.
This is the thing. It's not just about me working or I guess I'm the receiver here, you working your own agenda and what you're saying to me, but that I can appreciate it because of that connection. And that in a personal relationship that we have. So I think that stood out to me as from her approach from a manager and leadership perspective to say, hey, you can't, it's not just telling people this is what you need to do. And this idea that coaching is really other focused. It's thinking about that other person versus just here's the messages that I need to give you. And here's why.
Yeah. Telling is communication or it's fact being transmitted from one person, often in authority.
Here's what you need to know.
The other person versus coaching being really a relationship.
Yeah.
And including the context, which is part of the context is that person's experience, to your point, their desires and goals.
Yeah.
And how what we're offering them can help them reach that.
Yeah.
For sure. It's a different, it takes telling you can do right the moment you think it. Coaching takes more planning. It takes investment before the act of coaching or telling. So it's much more, you use your word intentional, much more thoughtful approach and has endurance. It can set in action a chain of events.
Yes. As a leader, how am I going to this conversation? And a telling conversation might be hey, we've got XYZ event coming up. Let's run through the tactical docket and prepare for it. Right. Whereas coaching might be, hey, I know we have this event coming up and maybe there's things that we need to do differently than last time, things I noticed, whatever. That's a much more thorough conversation. And to your point, if I'm doing it with care and preparedness, that I'm going in thinking about, what is it that I'm wanting to share with MaryAnn? And I know that MaryAnn, her goal is that she wants to do a really good job for these people, that she wants them to have an amazing experience. And so if there was something there, if there was a gap in something that we had done previously or an opportunity to focus on this time, how am I presenting that in a way that you're going to hear it, take in the spirit in which it's intended, right? So, much, much different. And looking for those opportunities to say, am I telling where I really need to be coaching?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. What did you think about the 3 C's?
The 3 C's. All right. So let me see. It was clarity, consistency, and control. Look at that. She quizzed me and I was ready.
Woohoo!
The 3 C's, clarity. I'm like, well, girl, if you're going to lead with clarity, then you've already sold this team, right? Because
that's right.
How often are we talking about clarity and how much have we discovered that breakdowns come from lack of clarity that people aren't even recognizing? So when I hear clarity and this idea of we need to be clear, we need to have understanding, I'm immediately like, yay, and a leader's focused on that, then that's a feel good right there.
Yeah.
Because clarity is one of those things that can easily fall through the cracks, especially when it comes to internal teams, right? Shoemaker's children. We might be really good with it with other parties or externally, but not so good internally.
True.
And then consistency, I think that's kind of tying back to what she was talking about from an authentic brand experience perspective, whether it's as a company or as an individual, that you're walking the talk, that what you say and what you are intending for people to experience when they deal with you is what they are actually experiencing.
Yeah.
Because it's not what we say that influences people's experience. It is what are they consistently getting from our interactions?
Yeah.
So having that focus to say, I want my interactions to look a certain way, and I'm going to do what I need to do to make sure I'm showing up in that way.
Mm-hmm.
That is so powerful.
Yep. Absolutely.
I love that.
And then
control always, I mean, as any fan of inner work would be, focusing on what we can control in any situation around what we're able to deliver is incredibly important. So when I hear control, I'm thinking of it through that lens.
Mm-hmm.
What can I control in any given moment? What can the team control? And the importance of that, because that is so influential to mindset, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I appreciate her 3 C's for the content that she brought, but even more than that, I like a person who thinks in systems like this, like the person who says, I have 3 C's. I'm immediately like, I respect you. I like how you think about things. I like that you're wanting to make something a formula so that other people can understand it.
Because it's easy to remember, right? Like, okay, 1, huge nerd, alliteration. Yeah, I'm here for it. Alliteration all day. But just you're showing that you're somebody who bothers to have a philosophy that is well thought out and easy to remember and explain. Yeah. And those are the things that are catchy, right? Like, it's not the, it's like when we help organizations come up with like mission, vision, values, like we can't have 37 values that are impossible to remember. It's like simple and clear. Like, that's what you're going for. So I love that it's like, 3 C's. I can remember 3 C's. Everybody can remember 3 C's. And that can become the foundation or the springboard to everything else that we want to do. So I'm with you. I love a good system.
That's right. And I think I remember she brought it. It's true internally. It's true externally. We talk about language so often, and linking ideas, and those kinds of things create meaning. And so that's one of the things I see that Kellie focuses on is excellence, certainly, how that looks operationally, but also what it means for the people inside the organization and for the people that they serve.
Yes. And I think that just that simplification of, we don't need multiple versions.
The witch keeps coming back, Miss Karen.
Oh gosh, she just keeps coming back. And that is just a life lesson in and of itself.
That's right.
But I was going to say, like, we don't need multiple versions of things. I think part of the simplicity and where she was with authenticity and kind of thinking about it all as brand experience and user experiences. We're not trying to manage multiple faces in terms of this is how we are internally, this is how we are externally. Like, that's exhausting.
Yes.
So authenticity is kind of this core, we are who we say we are, and we walk the talk ourselves, and we do it with our customer. Like, it's just one experience.
Love that.
And that's easy to remember and easy to do. Yeah. And I think that's something we do a lot, right? At Collective Growth, or we'll joke about it like, we're modeling, we're walking the talk. I mean, there's nothing out there that we ask our clients to do that we are not doing ourselves or practicing ourselves. 1, because we know this stuff works. Hey. Yeah. But also it's just because it is part of like every fiber of our being and what we do. This is not just something like, we're doing this because it's trendy and we want to share it with other people. Like, we're doing it because it works and because we really and truly live and believe it. And I guess that's our purpose, right? Yeah. So she talked a lot about purpose and tying to purpose and tying to mission and how that provides energy when, internally or externally or whatever, energy can lag. Yeah. And that's so true. I love that. Just that idea of like, you got to connect to something bigger than just like, here's the goal sheet, right? You can motivate people further. Yeah, motivate with values, as we said.
That's right. All right. Part of our philosophy there. So overall, I give Kellie high marks for the inner work that she's done, at least, in the way that we experienced her, the inner work that she's done to be able to produce the external results. And that's part of what we say is got to do the inner work to create outer change. And she's a mover and shaker. So
she is.
Yeah. Seems
every conversation we have, I'm like, I want the extended version. Right. I want the book. I want the longer, because you look at somebody like Kellie and there's, I'm sure there's more to the story around like, how did you get here? How much inner work did you have to do? What was the before versus the now? Right. Like naturally a curious person. So I come up with all the other questions around like, wow, how did you get there? And I think this was a nice intro or flavor into that. And for sure, just love, it's so amazing. And we get to talk to a lot of great leaders, and I'm very thankful for that. But just knowing that there are so many people in these C-suite positions who are valuing this concept of inner work and applying that to their teams so that they can help organizations to grow, be successful in a healed way at scale, right? I mean, it's great that we're all doing it as individuals, but when you see those C-suite executives really setting the standard at the top of the house, you know then that that's permeating all throughout the organization, and that's magical.
It is. It's awesome. So way to go, Kellie. Way to go,
Kellie. You get high marks. I didn't know we were grading people now. That's new.
Kellie,
you got a gold star, and we're going to send it to you. It's on its way. MaryAnn's going to walk it across the street when she's in the office next.
Yes, that's right. Just so close to us. Yes. Well, I love it. Well, thank you, Karen, for the great conversation. Thank you, everybody, for joining us on the breakdown series of our inner work conversations. Everybody have an awesome day, and we'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.